All right, let's get started here working on custom GPTs for marketing. My name's Russ Henneberry. I'm founder of the Click and the Click Pro. We'll talk a little bit about the Click Pro as we go. This is a free training. Everybody's invited to this. I want everybody to understand four things about ChatGPT. So I've been doing these trainings: custom GPTs, projects, deep research, and Canvas. These are four of the tools that we use every day when we're doing any work where we're trying to grow a business, and custom GPTs are super powerful. I want to start out by talking about what kind of problems we're kind of up against right now. I want you to think about how you're spending your work time, because these tools, I got to tell you guys, like, they are fun to play around with. There's always new tools launching. There's this tool over here and it got a little bit better at this, and this one got a little bit better at that, and this is going on and that's going on. And so we end up spending, and I do it too, a lot of time doing what I call $0 an hour work, which is just messing around with and playing with tools. And I think it's important to do this because we are keeping up with what's possible, right? Like, something changes, something's new, something's happening, we go check it out. And there's something valuable about that for sure. But here in 2026, I'm encouraging you to tinker less and instead invest in a single tool and really set it up and learn it and start to do your work inside of it. And the kind of work that we end up doing inside of AI is partly mechanic work. And this is what I call $25 an hour work. And it's work we have to do. It's work that it's where we're going there and we're executing, we're doing something, right? Like, we're actually writing something, we're organizing something, we're planning something, like, we're putting something together that's going to earn us money. And I call this $25 an hour work. And then you have that tippy top up there, which is strategist work, the work that you're doing that is going to determine how many zeros are on the end of the amount of money you earned across an entire year, right? Is strategy work. Like, what should I do? And how are we going to go about doing it? So it's high level strategy type work. And when we think about this little pyramid here, it's useful to start thinking about how you spend your day. How much of it are you doing that's really not designed to pay you, but instead to just keep up on what's going on? These tools that we have can do a lot more mechanic work than you think, right? And that's what custom GPTs do for us. Like, they are actual tools that we can build that execute certain things for us. And so that we can either do the same amount of mechanic work that we always did and just have more time to go play golf, or I don't even play golf. I go fishing a lot. So I have this group of friends, and half of us are fishermen and half of us are golfers. And there's a couple of them that do both, which I don't know how they have time for that. But, like, you go fishing with your time, or go to yoga class, or go do something with your time, your family or something. But, or you could do more mechanic work with the same amount of time, right? You could do more than you could before. There's no question now that there is this gap. There's this gap that's starting to appear between people that are just using AI and people that know how to use AI. Like, they know how to use it, like, they're masters of it. These people are just like, and I put myself in that category. I work really diligently to make sure that I understand how these tools work. And because I know I can do so much more mechanic work, and I can spend more time as a strategist, or just spend more time doing things that I enjoy doing. So there's really a change going on. And when you learn these tools, you will go from spending so much time doing mechanic work to spending more time as a strategist. And I really encourage you to learn these tools so that, you know, these AIs every day, they get a little bit better. A little bit more of this mechanic work is getting knocked out by the AI each day. And certainly across a month or 3 months, it just changes a lot. So I want to talk about two specific problems that custom GPTs solve. And the first one in AI is called the cold start problem. The cold start problem, I actually did a podcast interview the other day where I started calling this the new guy problem. So I'll give you both sides of this. The cold start is that every single time you start using your AI, you have to start over. You got to keep explaining it. This is what I do. This is what I'm selling to. This is what I'm working on. Right. And I call this the new guy problem too, because it's like every time you start using an AI, it's a new guy. You got to retrain it like it's some new guy that works with you or works for you. And it doesn't know what's going on. And you have to eliminate that problem. You have to eliminate the cold start problem. And custom GPTs are a big jump in that direction. The second big problem is the boiled chicken problem. The boiled chicken problem is that everything you get back is just sort of meh, you know? It's generic, it's inconsistent, it's just not useful. It might be perfectly accurate, right? Perfectly accurate, but nevertheless extremely unusable output that you're getting from the AI. And again, custom GPTs are a massive jump towards solving that problem. Now, we used to rely like when AI first came out, even myself, I started studying prompting and how do you write prompts and how do you do all this stuff. Custom GPTs are a jump from that, from understanding prompting to understanding AI customization and how to write GPTs is that next level that you need to jump to. Because what if your AI started the session as soon as you started using it, it already knew your business, understood the business so that every plan and draft and decision starts from what's true, right? Like it's already there. It's got proven methodologies and frameworks built in so that you don't have to start over and you keep getting consistent on brand output that's actually useful. That's what custom GPTs unlock. So, what we're going to do is play around with custom GPTs. But first, I want to show you why custom GPTs work. And you're going to go to sleep on me right now because you're going to be like, oh, this is boring. Or you're going to start working on something else on your computer, but don't right now. Like this is a core understanding of AI, what I'm about to show you. What I want you to understand is this concept called grounding. And grounding is when we anchor the AI in some trusted source, right? Some kind of trusted source. So we plug that AI's brain into a trusted source. So if we take the new guy analogy, right? You're working at the office and the new guy comes in and that new guy might be very intelligent and maybe have lots of other experiences and be a very capable worker, but the new guy doesn't know what's going on. They're the new guy, right? They don't know what you're working on. They don't know anything about the business. They never worked there before. It's their first day of work. You've got to anchor them into sources of truth. Now, at good companies, I've worked at all kinds of different companies that handle the new guy situation differently, but the best companies to make sure that by the time you come out of that orientation, you're not a new guy anymore. You understand you're grounded. You're grounded in some source of truth. Your AI is no different from that. In fact, your AI, I think we all know it's tremendously capable. It's insanely knowledgeable, but it doesn't know what you're doing. It doesn't know what you're working on. It doesn't know what your business is. So we have to ground our AI. And the way we do that is we ground it in different sources. Attachments, web search, deep research. I like to actually work inside of AI when I'm training you guys. That's my theory is that you're only going to learn AI when you do AI. So if you want to play along with me today, we're going to do a few exercises. You can open a Chat GPT session here, or if you want to use Gemini or Claude or any of those other tools are fine as well. And if we wanted to, for example, like if let's go and look at a landing page that I just created for the newest training that we're doing inside my Click Pro membership called AI email newsletters, where we're building email newsletters that increase leads and sales. And it's a workshop. And we had the first session last week, and we have the second session this Friday. So there's some detail there. This landing page starts to talk about what we're doing in this class. It has some testimonials on it from other members. It talks about, this is the old way to build an email newsletter. This is the new way to build a newsletter. it has a set of bullets or what I call fascinations, or, you know, it's not what I call fascinations. A lot of people call them fascinations. They're just bullets that are written in a certain way in order to get people excited about something that you're doing. So these are fascinations. You've got a little bit about me in here, the trainer here, and then a full layout of what you get when you join the Click Pro, and then some FAQs. So this is a landing page, right? And if I take this and copy this, I can drop it into the chat, guys, if you want to do this with me. I'll send this to everybody. It's just the click.ai/email-newsletters. And I'm just going to take this URL and I'm going to copy it and I'm going to go over to ChatGPT and I'm going to say, visit this page and outline the offer and just drop that in. And I'm going to turn on web search. So turn on this tool, web search, and I'll use the instant model so that it goes faster because we're on a call and I don't want you to have to sit there and watch the AI think. But I turn on web search, I give it a landing page and I say, visit the page and outline the offer. I say, all right, cool. And so it searched the web and it goes, okay, your title, use AI to build an email newsletter, and it lays out what it finds on the page, the instructor, FAQs. What I have done here is I have anchored my AI. I've anchored it inside of web search. So I've given it something to work with. And from here, I can take this clay, if you will, and I can start doing other things with it. Like, what if I wanted to take this landing page and I say, I want to turn this into a pitch deck for a sales call I have later today. Give me a slide by slide breakdown. Now, the only reason I'm able to do this is because it's working from a source, a trusted source. Very, very quickly, I can go from, okay, I have a landing page. Let's feed that. Let's give that to the AI. Let's ground the AI into that landing page. And now I just take this landing page that it went and grounded itself into. I say, well, what would it look like to turn this into a pitch deck? Like, give me slides, give me slide by slide, right? And I get in within a few seconds, I'm already off into planning this slide deck that I'm going to build that would help me pitch this training on a sales call. Now, I talked about that. I think there are four different sort of aspects of ChatGPT that all marketers and business people need to know about: custom GPTs, projects, deep research, and Canvas. And so let's talk about Canvas for just a second. And so if I say, put this into a Canvas, now I've got a document that I can start to work with because it's going to go and push this over into a Canvas. And there you go. It just didn't do it. Thank you, ChatGPT. This is why I do these trainings live. So if I want to make sure it puts the in Canvas, I'll turn on Canvas and I'll say, put the slides into a Canvas. I'm going to say, put the slide outline into a Canvas. So what I wanted to do is create me a document so that now I can start to work on this slide deck very, very quickly. Now, the only reason this is possible, that I'm able to, within a few seconds, just already be rocking and rolling. Like, let's say, I'm like, oh man, I got to build a pitch deck. I got to build a slide deck for this training that I'm doing. I want to pitch people on this. And so I go and I ground it. The first thing I did was I grounded it in web search. And then I just asked it to transform what it was grounded in into some other format, into this case, into a slide deck. Does that make sense? So grounding is what it's all about, guys. It's all about grounding. Pretty much when I talk to you about custom GPTs, when I talk to you about projects, when I talk to you about deep research, and when I talk to you about Canvas, in all cases, the underlying principle is grounding, because I can ground an AI in deep research. Now, if you haven't done any deep research, that's okay. But if you have, you know what I mean. I can go out there, have it do this deep research. And when I have it do this deep research, I can then ground the AI. I can say, reference this deep research and let's do some things with it. I will share with you, if you go to the click.ai, I'll drop this into the chat and you click on free training up there at the top. you'll see that there's several free trainings in here. And there's one in here on deep research. There's one in here on Canvas. I'll drop this into the chat and you guys can go over here. And when you click, let's say you want to do the one on deep research, you would just click on watch. And there's the training there on deep research. Now, so if you want other free trainings that are on demand and you want to do them on your own time, there they are for you. Now, what we're going to be doing today is we're going to use custom GPTs to ground our AI in custom instructions and in some cases a knowledge base. We're not going to play with knowledge base today, but I'm going to show you where the knowledge base is. And then the last one I have listed here is external data like your CRM or a little bit more advanced topic. But you could definitely start to ground AI into external sources like, hey, go look at my CRM, go look at HubSpot, go look at my email software, like go look at Kit and ground into my open rates or the last 10 emails that I sent or whatever and ground into that. That's how work gets done is you got to bring something to the party. Okay, so I'm going to help you bring things to the party because I've got some things prepared for you. What we're going to be doing, as you can see here in this slide, is we are going to be focusing on custom instruction of a custom GPT. If you look here, one of the AIs that you're going to install today is called Draper. And Draper is just an AI that writes stuff. It either writes or edits in a very specific voice. And I call it Draper because it, as you can see in here, its writing style is designed or defined by high impact emotionally charged persuasion, sort of like Don Draper in Mad Men. So I call this AI Draper. And we're going to build Draper together. And I'm going to show you how these GPTs work and how to ground an AI into a set of instructions. How are we going to do that? Well, I'm going to give you access to a document and should have had this all set for you, but it's right here. Okay. So I'm going to share this link with you in the chat. And if you're watching this on recording, look right underneath the video or in the description and you'll find a link to the assets for this training. What you should have just been able to get access to is two things. One is the slides that I just went through, and the second one is a Google Doc called Assets. Okay, so open up this Assets, and if you want to, and you want to make a copy of this, go to File, make a copy, and that'll make a copy of it, and you can drop it into your Google Drive and start to make changes to it. So let's look at Draper. You can see one of the things I love about Google Docs over the last year is that they've added tabs, and I love these tabs, man. I use the heck out of these tabs, and you can see that there's 3 tabs over here. There's 4 actually. There's an overview that kind of gives you just a big picture view of like what this document is. But let's look at the Draper GPT right here. And I want to walk through this GPT because we're going to install it. It takes 2 seconds to install it. Actually, no, it's going to take 15 seconds. Let's time it to see how long it takes to install Draper. And once you install it, you will always have it. It's always there. It doesn't need a cold start. Like there's no cold start. It's like the Draper's always there. It's always sitting there in case I need him. Draper GPT is a brand voice GPT. I'm going to blow that up a little bit. So let's look at how Draper works. So this is act as the Draper voice. It's a editing style defined by high impact, emotionally charged persuasion. Deliver with brevity, with punch, tapping into primal human desires. And all this thing does is it says, okay, here's the sentence structure I want you to use. Here's a description of that. And then here are examples of that sentence structure. Here's pacing and rhythm of your writing. I want it to be fast paced, urgent, and deliberate. Here's examples of that. Here's the idiomatic expression, and here's examples of that. And here's the figurative language, and here's examples of that. So the AI loves examples. It loves to see examples because it's really, really good at recognizing patterns. It's good at taking instruction. But these instructions, this whole set of instructions would be about half as effective without the examples. Without the examples, this set of instructions is much weaker. So that's why every section I say, here's the rhetorical strategies, and here are examples. And here's the tone and mood, and here are examples. So always give examples when you can so that the AI can be like, okay, I see. You want confident, bold, and emotionally charged. And here's an example. And now I see what you're saying, right? I can see that. And so this is Draper. Now, what I want you to do, and I hate having to tell you this, but there is a slightly technical thing that I want you to do right now. And that is go to tools, go to preferences. So go to tools and preferences and make sure that this is enabled right here. Enable markdown. Enable markdown. So you go to tools, preferences, and enable markdown. Now, I'll explain a little bit about markdown as we go, but it's really not much to it. And you'll sort of either kind of get it or not get it, but like it kind of doesn't matter if you get it. I just want you to start using markdown because the AI loves Markdown. It totally understands Markdown rather than this kind of formatting where this is a heading 2 and it's a little bit bigger, and it's bolder and all that. So that's really great for us, our eyes. Markdown allows us to preserve that formatting when we send it into the AI and it just gets it. It just understands the document. So you got to go to Tools, Preferences, Enable Markdown, and then that's it. And once you've done that, what you're able to do is copy all of this, just copy all of Draper. And then what I like to do is right click, but you can also click edit and copy it as Markdown. So select everything and copy as Markdown. See that? Copy as Markdown. Boop. All right. Now we're going to go into ChatGPT together and I'm going to open up a new chat here. I'll do this nice and slow the first time, and then we'll install another one where I'll probably move a little bit faster. You can see all these GPTs over here. These are different GPTs that I use throughout the day to do more and more of this mechanic work, right? This mechanic work. I build little tools that knock this stuff out for me. And that's what everybody is out there doing to get themselves better so that they can produce either more or they can produce the same amount but do it in less time. This is the difference, right? So I want you to click on Explore GPTs in the left there and click on in the upper right, click on Create and make sure that you're in the Configure side. You can go over here and you can sort of talk to it to get a GPT. Today, I never use this. I never use the Create. I always build my own GPTs. You can play around with the Create side if you want, but today we're going to be working in the Configure side and you're going to call this Draper. So just type Draper now. I'm going to put a little unofficial in here just because I already have a Draper and I want to delete this later. I have the exact thing that I'm building. And I'm going to say for the description, I'll say writes in a punchy, persuasive voice. And then I'm going to paste all of that instruction in there. And you're going to see that it looks a little funky in here because you're using Markdown. So what this is saying is this is a heading 1, and this is telling it that that's bolded. And if we go down, you're going to see that's a heading 2, and that's bolded. And all it does is it helps the AI understand the structure of this document. Because if I just copied this and pasted it normally, I can just grab this right now and copy it just the way we would copy anything. I'm just going to click copy. If I paste that in here, if I go up here, what you see is all my formatting got stripped out. And that's a problem because as you know, because a lot of you guys are very smart writers and marketers and that kind of stuff, this structure of this document, the bullets, the numbers, the headings, all that stuff is communicating things like what's important, what's part of something else, right? You can see that this is a heading and that these are bullets that are a part of that heading. Well, when you don't use Markdown, you are going to confuse the heck out of your AI. This will improve, using Markdown will improve your AI's ability to understand these documents because it preserves the formatting using this simple Markdown formatting. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this as Markdown back into my GPT and just delete all that and now paste my Markdown. So now this AI is ready to rock and roll. This is sort of optional, but I'm going to change the recommended model to ChatGPT 5.2 thinking, which is pretty much the highest power model that you can give it. The only other thing I want to point out here is that you could decide to attach some files here if you want. Like this might be that you would attach some copywriting formulas or maybe some old some other content that you've created here. You can attach. Last I checked, up to 10 files. And by the way, you can attach markdown files. So if I wanted to attach this as a markdown file, I can go to File, Download, Markdown. Okay, most people don't even know what that is or that's there. But all that does is download this as a markdown file rather than a PDF or a doc or whatever file type. So if you want a markdown file, and the AI loves markdown files, like it loves it, just go ahead and attach. If I wanted to attach this to the knowledge base so that this AI can ground into this document, I would click Upload Files and attach this little markdown file. You can see that markdown file in there, right there. You can see it's got that markdown formatting in there, and open that. And now, it's going to attach that, and that's going to become available to the AI to ground into. So remember, I said when we're grounding things, we can ground it into lots of different stuff, attachments, web search. This is what we would call it grounding into a knowledge base. So you can see that this is that knowledge base, and I can attach up to 10 files here if I want to. Okay, let's see. Okay, awesome. If you have questions, pop them in there. I'll try to take a look. Lisa, if you want the recording, it's going to end up here. It's going to end up in my free training section right here. Or you can shoot me an email, russ@modernpublisher.com. I'll get you the direct link to it. But my email is russ@modernpublisher.com. But look right here. Right now, this is last month. Last month I did this training. So this will be replaced by today's training by the end of the day. All right. So I'm going to delete this thing out of the knowledge base because I don't want anything in that knowledge base. So I've got Draper built. That's it. Okay. I'm going to click create. You won't see this screen unless you're using ChatGPT Business. All that means is that I'm able to use this with my other people that are using my ChatGPT account on my team. So you click update. I'm going to click update. I could invite other people to this that are in my account, and then you just click on View GPT and you're done. Okay, so you have Draper installed. Now, how do you use Draper? Well, let's go back to our little conversation that we were having here, where I said, "Hey, let's go back to this conversation here." So I said, "Hey, visit this page and outline the offer." And it went, so I used web search to ground into this landing page. Now, you could do this with your own page. You could use this with somebody else's page, right? You could go to a competitor page and say, "Hey, go grab everything out of that page and let's ground into that." Now, the next thing I did in this training so far was I said, I want to turn this into a pitch deck for a sales call I have later today. Give me a slide by slide breakdown. And it went and built the slides. And then I said, okay, put this into a canvas, and it failed. Bad Chat GPT. It just repeated it again. But then I turned on Canvas there with the tools and I said, hey, definitely put this into a canvas. So it went ahead and followed instruction that time. And it put this over into a canvas. Now I can change the name of this canvas just to keep myself organized and call this the pitch deck. Okay. So now I've got this canvas that contains a pitch deck. If I want to get access to that again, I can click on my little canvas button in the upper right hand corner here. I can just open that back up. And the nice thing about Canvas, it's not a training on Canvas, but I love Canvas. And there is a Canvas training. If you check out that link that I sent you, there is a Canvas training in there. And I will be doing another Canvas training in a couple of weeks. But that Canvas training is only 3 weeks old. It's very accurate. But here's the slides. Diane's asking if I have an affiliate program. You can shoot me an email about that, Diane. I don't advertise an affiliate program, but I have a few people doing affiliates for my pro account. So Mike Crow says, I'm still unclear how we make an app that we want to sell to a client. Do we sell the GPT or the source code or object or executable file? What I sell is the service of talking with business owners. I was doing this earlier today. You talk to the business owner, you say, okay, what kinds of things are you doing all the time? And, is your team having to do? And then you sell the service of building that GPT for them. So in this case, if they're saying, well, we're writing a lot of copy and we need, we need something that can help us write copy faster. Well, you could sell Draper. You just sell the installation and training around how to use Draper. But custom GPTs can be used for so many different things. And so when you go and you talk to a business person and you get their actual feedback on like, what are they doing? What are they working on in their day to day operations? And you help them structure GPTs like this, that's what I'm selling anyway. Okay. So let's take this a step further. So I'm going to close the pitch deck and let's instead ask the AI to start helping us plan a uh, email promotion. Okay. So uh, let's write a 3 email series to promote this new course. I'm gonna sort of fast forward through this. I would probably add a little bit more detail here, but I'm just gonna have it give us something real quick here. So create a plan for a 3-day email series. Okay, so I'm gonna have it plan a 3-day email series. Remember that this is not going to be boiled chicken because this thread is grounded. It's grounded into my newsletter landing page, so it's not just going to give me some made up stuff here that's like, well, that's very generic and bland and boring, but not very useful to me. Even with this very undetailed prompt about how I want this email series to work, it's going to give me pretty good stuff. So it's like, hey, day one, the theme of this email is that your newsletter isn't failing. It was never a system, and it's got an objective for the email. It's got a core message. This is actually for the whole, entire day one. Now watch me work here. Watch me work. So I'm going to go ahead and say, I like this. Now let's say I have no edits to this. So I'm going to go ahead and highlight this. And I'm going to highlight just day one because you can see it planned 3 days of emails here. I am just going to highlight day one, and I'm going to do a little trick here. I'm going to click on Ask ChatGPT. So when I highlight this, this is a really powerful little feature that you may or may not be using. So I am going to ground this next response from the AI into the day one email, not day two, not day three. I want to talk about day one only now. So I'm going to highlight day one and I'm going to click on Ask ChatGPT. And what I want you to do is watch down here in my input box. When I click on Ask ChatGPT, it's going to push that first day email into the input box, grounding this next response into day one. Does that make sense? Grounding day one so that it knows, hey, we're talking about day one. Very cool. All right. So now we've grounded into day one, and I'm just going to simply say, write this email in a new canvas called email one. All right. So write this email. I don't have to tell it which email. I don't have to say write day one's email. I don't have to say that because I grounded it using that little Ask ChatGPT. Now I'm using Canvas again. Notice that I didn't have to turn Canvas on. I was really surprised that it didn't listen to me before and open a Canvas. That hasn't happened to me in a long time. It usually recognizes when you say Canvas that you want a Canvas. So I got myself a Canvas here with email one. So click on that edit button and boop. Now I'm working on this email, and I can either edit over here. I can say, make this shorter. I can do any number of things, right? I could say something like rewrite this using a problem agitate solve copywriting framework. Some of you may not even know what that is. That's okay. But it's a framework that we use in copywriting. There's dozens of them, and it's going to edit that. So I was just demonstrating that I can edit on the left, and it's going to rewrite this. It knows what a problem agitate solve copywriting structure is. So you can see it even went ahead and annoyingly actually put this in here explicitly. But I can edit over here on the left, and I can also edit over here on the right. So I can start to make changes to this. It takes a minute after it goes ahead and edits, but you can see this little pencil shows up down here. When this little pencil shows up, you can start to edit. So I'm going to go ahead and take this out because I don't need that in the email. I don't know why it thought I would want that. But I'm going to take these out. But the last thing I want to talk about here with this particular example is our GPT. Remember, we got this GPT. So I want you to think about something. These GPTs that we build, so far we've just built Draper. I want you to think about them like you would think about a tool, like a hammer or a saw or a drill or a screwdriver, right? And when you're working on something and you need your screwdriver, you pick up your screwdriver and you use your screwdriver. And then when you're done, you don't keep using it, you set it back down. That's exactly what a GPT is. So right now, I have an email here and I want it to be in a punchy, persuasive tone. So right now, I'm going to pick up my screwdriver. I'm going to pick up Draper. And I'm going to say, hey, Draper, go and use your instructions to rewrite this email. And the way I do that is I click down here and I hit the at symbol. Okay. So I hit that at sign. And now I start typing Draper, and I'm going to use the unofficial one that I built with you guys just to demonstrate. I have the same GPT you have. Now I have Draper basically picked up in my hand, and I say, and I'm just going to give it very simple instructions. Edit this email in your voice, in your Draper voice. And if you remember, Draper has instructions. Draper has instructions, and I am going to ground my AI into these instructions, or I already did. It was when I went and called Draper in that I say into Draper's instructions. So now I say, follow your Draper to edit email one in the canvas. Okay, that's even over explaining that I'm talking about this. I want you to follow your Draper instructions, and I'm going to go ahead and run that. And now my AI goes and says, okay, I'm going to use your screwdriver, and I'm going to rewrite this using the Draper instructions. And now I've essentially transformed this email using a set of instructions, and I'm done. I'm done using Draper. Like now I might want to go here and spend a half hour or 45 minutes editing this until I get it to where it's like, okay, that's ready. That's ready to be sent. But this is a very, very fast way of going about your work. Right. When you build these tools, they are now saved. You don't have a cold start. You don't have to keep starting over and going like, okay, like I want you to write. You don't have to keep some prompt somewhere. It just save it in as a GPT. So now that I'm done with Draper, I just click the little X and I set my screwdriver down. I don't need Draper anymore. I don't want I don't I don't need any more editing, so I'm done like with that particular tool. But for me, I'm calling different tools all day. I might need a content calendar, for example. So I can call in this particular AI. And I gave you that one too. So here's content calendar. If you go back into the assets here, this particular document that I gave you, you'll see that there's another tab in here called content calendar. And this is just a GPT that knows how to build a content calendar the way I build it anyway. And you can change it. You can make it anything that you want by literally just changing these instructions. Do you want a new column in here? Well, add a column into the output format. But if you read these instructions, all it is it's saying, hey, I want you to do this. I want you to ground into these instructions and do it this way. And so I'm going to go ahead and build content calendar real quick. I'm going to highlight all. I'm going to do this quite quickly now. This is when I want you to time me. This is when I want to go with the 15 seconds. So I'm going to highlight this. I'm going to copy as markdown. I'm going to go into ChatGPT. I'm going to click on Explore GPTs. I'm going to click on Create. I'm going to call this Content Calendar. I'm going to say Creates Content Calendars. How many seconds has this been? I'm going to paste in my markdown and come on, ChatGPT. Come on, baby. Come on, baby. Click on Create and it's done. Okay, so now I have a GPT that creates content calendars. Okay, so I click on View GPT. All right, so let's go back into our little fun example that we've been doing. So far now we have two canvases. We've got one that's pitch deck. I can open that up and play with that, or I can close that and I can start working on email one, or I could create a third canvas for email two or whatever. But instead, let's X this out. Let's go back down here and let's shift gears for a second. We got 11 minutes left. Thank you. Thank you, Kathy Jo. I'm a little excited today. I love talking about this stuff. Okay. So let's take the same thing that we grounded in, which was the landing page to start with. We grounded into my email newsletter training landing page. And let's instead ask it, let's just say, consider my email, let's say AI email newsletter training landing page, and let's create 5 pillar topics we could start posting about on LinkedIn. So I use LinkedIn. I think a lot of you probably use LinkedIn or use other social channels. This one, I'm just going to say, hey, look at my newsletter training. And what are some pillar topics we could start posting about on LinkedIn? And I might say something like, give me the name of the pillar and a quick description. And let's just have it and add a couple of post topic ideas you have. And if I want to make sure that this AI remembers to ground into my newsletter, I could give it the link again. I could say, hey, go look at this page. Remember, this is the page that's grounded into. The AI is pretty dang good at understanding what I'm talking about. So let's just see how well it does with that. And you can see I'm still, because I'm using instant while it's doing this, I want to talk about this up here. Okay. I'm using instant up here, which means I'm using a weaker model so that I can get speed. Okay. I want speed. And the only reason I'm using the speed model is because I'm on a call right now. And I don't want you guys to have to sit here and watch the AI think. But more likely, if I was doing this and no one was watching and I didn't have to worry about time, I would be using the thinking model because it's going to think a little bit more, right? It's going to put more compute power on that prompt. So, but for us, let's just keep using instant for now. But I would switch to thinking. All right, so it gave me some pillars here, like newsletters failed. Now I might want to put this over into a canvas and edit it and get these pillars right. You don't just take what the AI gives you and just be like, okay, cool. But in the interest of time, let's just say that we liked these pillars or we edited these pillars, or maybe had it remove one and take one out and add another one in, whatever. And at the end, we're like, I like these pillars. This is good. Now I might say, I need a content calendar here for my LinkedIn posts coming up. So I need my drill. I need my tool. I'm going to call in my content calendar here. Okay. And I'm going to say, use your content calendar instructions. You can see I don't care about that much about typos. Use your content calendar instructions to create a LinkedIn content calendar starting with Feb for 2026 and posting 3 times per week. Let's run that. See how well it does. Remember, it's grounded into a set of instructions around how to build a content calendar and how I want a content calendar built. And it's going to build it precisely the way I asked it to build it, with the week, the day, the date, the channel, the topic, the hook, the outline, and the pain point that's being addressed. And boom, I've got this. And actually, kind of nice, it went ahead and built it in a canvas for me. So now I can click this edit and I can start to edit this, or I could copy it, paste it over into a doc, or whatever I want to do. But remember how this all worked out. Okay, so we have 6 minutes left. Let's back up. What happened here? We grounded an AI into web search to start today. And so that AI had something to go off of, right? It had my landing page. It was like, oh, okay, like I see what you're doing. And then immediately I was like, cool, thanks for building the landing page. Now build me a pitch deck out of that. Well, it couldn't do that without being grounded into something. I mean, the crazy part about this, the thing that will drive you nuts, is that it will build you a pitch deck with nothing. It'll have nothing to go off, and it will build you a pitch deck. And then you'll go, that pitch deck is not useful. It's not usable. And your AI won't tell you this because it's too polite to you to tell you, you didn't give me anything. You gave me nothing to work with. So I built you the best pitch deck I possibly could with no information. But when you ground it into an attachment or some deep research, or you ground it into a page on the internet, you'll be shocked at how much better it can do. So it could take something like, here's this landing page, let's turn it into a pitch deck. And then I took the same landing page, turned it into a 3-part email series. It did all this much faster than it actually can happen, because you got to slow down. You got to keep working on the stuff. Like, you're going to edit the emails, you're going to do this and that. And then I went and transformed it into a content calendar. And the reason I was able to do the last two things with such speed is because I have a saved GPT that knows how to create a content calendar. It's just a set of instructions. It's saved in my ChatGPT account and I can call it whenever I want. When I want something edited in that Draper voice, I just call Draper. I just call dial Draper in. Now, quick pitch for the Click Pro. We are building newsletters now, and newsletters are insanely powerful, right? They handle so much of the marketing objectives that we try to accomplish in marketing: lead generation, lead nurture, and sales, right? We make sales, we nurture leads, and we generate leads using email newsletters. This is not new. These newsletters are as old as email. So, over 20 years, we've been using email newsletters. The reason email newsletters used to suck is that they take a long time to put together. But AI, you can see when you build the right tools, when you set up and structure your account properly, I can build email newsletters. There's an email newsletter going out on Friday morning that I built today before 10 o'clock. And I don't get up that early. Okay. So before 10 a.m. this morning, I'd already built an entire newsletter and I put it out on Friday morning. And it's because I'm using GPTs, I'm using projects, I'm using Canvas, I'm using deep research, all these different things together and understanding how to properly use AI. People think that this transformational technology looks really easy to use. When you go to ChatGPT, it literally says, ask anything. What can I help with? Say broad, general purpose technology. And if you're using it for work, you need training. You need training. You need to be following instructions and playing with the stuff the way that it's used to work. That's what the Click Pro is all about. You can check it out. Several Click Pro members in here right now, and several of you that are not. And I would love for you to join. You can go to click.ai/email newsletters, learn more about the current workshop that we are doing here. I will pop that into the chat. I would love to have you join. We have a good time. We make awesome stuff happen with AI. And again, the whole idea here is to start showing you how to use AI for strategy work. In other words, how to use it as a thought partner and how to use it to knock out more mechanic work for yourself. If you have clients, if you have an employer, in whatever way you're doing it. Cool. So how was that? Did you pick up what I'm throwing down? Did you learn something today? I'm done with the formal training part of today, but shoot me an email, russ@modernpublisher.com, if you want to get in touch with me. Join the Click at the click.ai. Just click on the Click Pro and you'll find everything you need to know about that. And we will see Click Pro members. I will see you all tomorrow and Friday if you come to those trainings. And the rest of you, I'll see you next week. Bye. Bye, everybody. Take care. Have a great rest of your day.